Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to my home. Super excited to have you here. So, if you clicked on this video, it's because you probably are having issues getting approved for an apartment because of credit, rental history, bankruptcies, something like that, and you're hoping we can get you approved. Well, today is your lucky day. We are going to be going over in this video exactly how we've been able to help over 400 people just like you get approved for their new apartment despite poor credit. So I have a special guest here with me today. They call her the Guaranteed Approval Specialist. It's about to blow your mind. She has been able to help single-handedly hundreds of people get approved, and her process, I've witnessed it, and it's pretty incredible, the work and the miracles she's been able to pull for people. So I'm excited to have her tell you guys exactly how she's able to do it. And without further ado, Ollie Davis.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so happy for you to kind of go over your just magic, because it truly is magic. It truly is magic, guys. I mean, I watch it on a regular basis, and it's so impressive how you're able to help people get approved. I mean, something that I used to think would be completely impossible, because as a lot of you guys may know, I too have been through this program. I had an eviction, and for years, I couldn't get approved anywhere. And I didn't think that anything like this existed, but it's worked for me. I've seen it work on hundreds of other people, and you have been the catalyst, the person to make it happen. So just how did you get started in all this?
Well, first, I would like to thank God. That's for sure. I would like to thank God. It's not me, it's God. He put me in a place that was, exactly where he wanted me to be, to help myself, to help, other people who are just like me. I had a broken lease myself, so I definitely understand how difficult it is and could be to, continue your life after things like that. So I would like to thank that first.
Amen, amen. We got to give great praise to the mighty one. But let's kind of get into your story as far as like from the beginning. Right now, you are a co-owner of Fresh Start, the #1 second chance leasing program in the nation, helping hundreds of people get approved for apartments, all with unique credit history blemishes.
Yes.
You guys have been doing this since COVID.
Yes.
And your success rate is incredible. It's like 90% success rate.
Yes, sir.
How did it start? How did you become this person?
Yes. I would like to pay a tribute to my property management background. As soon as I turned 18 and moved to California, I wanted to be an actress. That was my big dream. And being an actress or living in LA, I realized it was actually really expensive. So I was going to need to get a big girl job. In getting a big girl job, I just went around town. I searched and I did my best to find a job. The leasing office that I lived in downstairs, I would always walk back and forth through there. I would have casual conversation with the leasing agents and the property managers there. They were always super nice. One day, after having a super unsuccessful day finding a job, the property manager named Renee was like, "Can I talk to you?" And I was like, "Of course, yeah." Even though I was having a bad day, I didn't think it could get any worse. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." I sat down, I had a conversation with her. She's like, "I really like your personality, and have you ever thought about property management?" I was like, "No, I haven't. I mean, I'm only 18 years old, so I haven't really thought about a whole lot." But, she gave me the opportunity and application. 2 days later, I did a background check with them, and, I was hired as a property manager. It was, it just kind of fell in my lap. But all the light that came with it and all the expertise that came with it, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Wow, so that is awesome. So you go to California, pursuing your dreams as an actress, realize it's expensive out here.
Yeah.
And just the apartment complex we were living in, they were hiring, and this lady, Renee, she actually saw something in you and offered you a job.
By the basic cigar.
Wow, Chan. So now you're in property management. Okay.
So
tell me about that. Tell me about your experience in property management, how it prepares you for where you are right now.
Yeah, I had the greatest mentor. Again, her name was Renee. She taught me absolutely everything that she did. She was like 55 years old and had been doing it since she was 23. So imagine just the knowledge that she had to teach. So I was able to get 35 years of knowledge in less than a year's time. With that being said, I was able to climb the ranks really fast. I was able to grow teams really fast. I was able to take properties from 0% occupancy to 100% occupancy, in 3 months' time. I was able to figure out all the marketing hacks in order to make sure that those properties got filled. And, the longest person that I had on my team, they were there for 5 years. They were still there when I left. So, I'm just learning how to build those trustworthy teams, those loyal teams, and getting those properties leased up. It was really great, and I would still be there if it wasn't for this one particular situation that just kind of changed everything for me.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's actually, it can be kind of difficult to talk about sometimes because it's sad how this apartment world works. There was a lady who lived at this property for 13 years. She had been there way longer than I had. She was always so nice, always so sweet. Her husband was there with her. She lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was, your normal situation. And then she got ill. She ended up getting cancer and she was unable to work. And her not being able to work, unfortunately, the first of the month still rolls around. She did her best. She did her due diligence to call us and let us know, hey, I have cancer and I haven't been able to work. The hospital's going to be paying or my rent. And once they do pay for it, they'll continue to pay for it until I get better. Well, insurance does take a long time sometimes. And, the first came, the second came, the third came. And by the fourth, they told me I needed to put a notice on her door.
Oh,
yeah. And that always sucked because, I'm explaining the situation. I'm like, she's always stayed on time. She doesn't have a single missed payment. Let's just do what we can for her. But by the fourth, they wanted me to put that notice on her door. They would normally evict by the 7th. They gave her a couple of extra days. They gave her until the 13th. On the 13th, the sheriffs were called out. We were gathered as a team. We went into her apartment and we had to take everything out and put it on the curb.
wow.
It's heartbreaking.
That's crazy. Okay. So you have this successful career in property management.
Right.
Flourishing. You're learning ins and outs. You're taking properties from low occupancy to high occupancy. They have you working in all the different properties in the region. And it looks like your career is just going to the moon. Let's say like they from out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden everything changes because we have someone that you had to come fond of who was basically being treated just so poorly because of an unfortunate situation that happened to anybody.
Yeah, at this point, I'm definitely seeing the dark side of property management. It's not all glitz and glamour anymore at this point. Now I'm kind of taking a step back and looking at what I'm doing. So half of it is spilling the occupancy and getting those people in the doors for the company, right? But the other half is that those people are real people and situations happen, like COVID, right? Things happen. And when they do happen, you don't have the liberty to say, I can help you.
So what about this situation with this person? What happened with that situation? And, because I'm sure if this was like a pivotal moment for you, something had to happen with this.
Yeah. So she ended up calling when she healed and, got better, finished chemo. This was the only place that she had been for the last 13 years. So she ended up calling to let me know, hey, I'm going to be looking for an apartment coming up. And I need a good reference from you guys. This lady was unable to get an apartment it was months before it was like, okay, I'm going to take this lady on as a client. I didn't have a business or anything like that yet. I just knew that I needed to make sure that she got somewhere. If this was my grandma or my mom, I would want somebody to do the same thing. So she ended up being a first client. It took us about 2 weeks, but we got her moved into a new safe space.
Wow. And how did you do that? So she has an eviction now.
Right.
You're working in property management, so you know a little bit about the ins and outs in the property management world, but you obviously know that she can't get approved because she's had an eviction. So that's your job to deny people. So how are you able to get her approved? What transpired in that time?
Yeah. So by the grace of God, I ended up finding a guy who works in credit. And this is what he had been doing successfully. So I hired somebody to ask questions like, hey, how do you, if you do have an eviction, if you do have, credit blemishes, how do you still make sure you have a roof over your head? So he ended up going over some laws that made sure that people were not stuck in between a rock and a hard place. So a law that basically states that you don't have to report your credit to these apartment complexes because they're not federal agencies. That was a huge thing for us, because if we could cover her credit, she has the income now, she's recovered, she's good to go. She doesn't have a criminal background. So now with that law of us being able to cover, those blemishes, it's where it gets you in now. But without knowing that, we would have kept on reporting the same evictions, same credit blemishes, and we would have kept, getting knocked down.
So, wow. Okay. So you basically, now you're investigating, you're learning the laws, and then you come across somebody who was able to actually coach you through some of the laws that are in place for people in these situations to actually protect people from having to disclose their credit to creditors.
Right.
Right. Now, your experience in property management, did that also kind of help you in this process?
Yes, it definitely helped me in the process. What it mostly taught me is that you need a mentor. So at that point in time, I reached out to you. That's when I reached out to you. You've already had some successful businesses going. You've already, kind of had everything that I was looking for in order to start my own business, or to take, from one client to 2 clients to 3. And before I knew it, you and I were at 200 clients. So that was probably the greatest decision that I've made thus far.
Yeah. And I remember because, again, I was a client.
Yeah.
So I saw firsthand, and I had been applying for a few years and understanding my story and having a broken lease in college, and that just kind of followed me, and applying on my own, getting denied over and over and over again, to the point where I'm now applying with friends, or I'm
Right.
staying with subletting leases in different situations that just aren't ideal for me, being the fact that I have the income. So I understood firsthand the client's perspective,
Right.
because this is important. I was a client. So, once I was able to see it work for me, and then work for this person and that person and that person and that person, it was more of a thing of, okay, well, this is a problem that we've solved.
Right.
And there are people who desperately need this solution. So at that point, it's pretty much up to us to, it's our duty to help as many people as possible, because it changed my life. So now we grew the company. Right now we're doing amazing. We're helping so many people. What would you say is, because right now you how many clients are you working with right now?
Currently today, I have 17.
17 clients. Okay. So you're dealing with clients, and every month you're taking on like 40 so clients a month.
Yes. So I take on 40 or so clients until I hit 100.
100 clients. Okay.
Yeah.
So you pretty much seen it all that.
Right.
What are some things, to say somebody out here looking like, okay, this sounds like something I need. This is actually the answer to my prayers. What will prepare someone to be able to get right in and get approved for our program and for their new apartment? What are the qualifications that they need?
The first qualification is weighing the income. The apartment complex is looking that you make 3 times the amount of rent. So that is the number one qualification. The number two qualification is going to be that you don't have a criminal background. The apartment complex won't work with it, so therefore we can't work with it. The third thing is that you have a positive attitude. And I know that probably sounds like, well, you can maybe have that or maybe not have that. No, it's absolutely necessary that we got the positive attitude. We are in the business of performing miracles. So the energy that we put out there around our circumstances, it really does matter. If you believe that you cannot get an apartment because you have an eviction, that's true. If you believe that you can get an apartment, even though you have an eviction, it's true. It's all about your mindset.
I agree. Definitely. And another thing, guys, you guys have to understand, in what we do, there are so many people that need this. And we do our best to help as many as possible, but obviously we can't help everyone. We won't even try.
Right.
So there's always a cap on the amount of people we can let in. And then there's also a cap on the type of people that we want to let it.
Exactly.
Because this, again, has changed my life and changed the life of hundreds of people. So you want to make sure that you are entering into this with an understanding that, hey, this is a second chance for me. So I want to treat it as such. I'm going to be responsible, and then the biggest thing is you want to be prepared, right? So let's talk about some of the qualifications a little bit more in detail. So we're talking about income.
Yes.
All right. So what does that look like? What kind of income do they need to make sure that they qualify?
So we like to see that you have at least $5,000 of income before taxes. The reason why that is because we want you to live somewhere nice. I don't want you to be making $3,000 a month. They're looking for $370 a month for rent. You're living in a 2-bedroom that's $1,000. For the most part, that place is probably going to have, more issues than what you're interested in. So if you can make $5,000 a month, we can get you somewhere nice. We want you to be able to pick your zip code. We want you to have lots of options. So
now, is that 5,000? Is that every city, or is that?
So there are some cities that are a lot cheaper, right? Like Texas, you could find a 1-bedroom for $1,000. Yeah, that's fine. But also keep in mind that if you are in the lower, 5-10%, well, the other applicants that they had are probably in, that 30 to 40 or 50%. So you're already kind of betting against people who are going to win. Like if I have applicants that make, $4,500 and you make $3,000, while you do qualify for the apartment, I'm going to go with the person that makes $35,000.
So we'll say realistically, depending on the city, you want to have at least around $4,500 to $5,000 a month before taxes. So that's not after taxes, but before taxes, a verified income. That'll give you the strongest chances of getting approved for our program and for the apartment complex. So income is important. If you don't have the income, then you are not prepared for the program, and you may not be prepared to rent. You don't want to put yourself in a bigger hole than you already are. I know in this industry, there's a lot of people who are operating out of desperation.
Yes.
Sometimes you need to take a step back, pray about your situation, and then ask God to kind of help you so that you can get your things together piece by piece. Because you don't want to move too fast and say you don't meet the income requirements. Now you apply for our program. If we're able to get you approved for your apartment, it's great. But if you get evicted again, now you're evicted again. And you can't come back through our program.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you have your income and that your job is stable and that you meet those requirements. On top of the income, you also want to make sure that there's no criminal background issues.
Right.
We can help you with the credit. We can make sure that you have an eviction, a broken lease, a bankruptcy. We can cover those, and we can also help you select properties, which is something I want to talk about in a second. As far as one of the biggest questions we get is, where can I apply?
Right.
Right. So we're going to address that. We can help you with all of those things, but criminal background, we cannot cover that. So those are two things. Income is important. Criminal background, can't help you with that. And then attitude. I'm going to say this before we wrap up. if this is something that you are absolutely sure you're going to need, you have eviction, you know you're going to need it. You have a bankruptcy, you know you're going to need it. You have medical bills, collections, charge-offs, student loans, anything like that that's extremely delinquent on your credit, you are going to need it. Do yourself a favor and do not wait. Okay? You've seen this happen time and time again. People who had 2 clients. One client, they hear about the program, they realize it's the answer to their prayers, they enroll right away. They pay their fees, get started, and they get moved within a week or so. And then they tell all their friends and families, hey, I just found this amazing program. You guys, I got approved for my new apartment. Anybody need help? Contact these guys. And then we have another client. And they go through the similar process and find out about the program and realize it's the answer to their prayers. And then we don't hear from them for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. And then they contact us and they say, hey, I heard about you guys' program. I need to move in 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, for one, there's no availability,
Yeah.
right? Because we have a lot of people applying for our program. And 2, we do not work under that type of condition. Why would you wait until 3 days before you know you need to move? And I come to the conclusion that it's for a couple of reasons. For one, either they have not went through enough pain and they need to get denied a couple more times, or they need to spend a little more money wasting on application fees before they realize that this is something that they need so that they can take advantage of it. Or B, they're asking themselves the wrong questions. They're asking themselves questions like, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if it doesn't work for me? Well, it doesn't work for you. You're in the exact same spot that you're in right now, so you have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. Our program for qualified applicants, there's a refund policy. We're not in the business of hurting people in a desperate situation and making it worse, which is why our qualifications are so tedious and stern. But that's it. You have nothing to lose. You're already in that situation. What you should be asking yourself is, how will my life be once I am approved? Or what's life going to look like now that I've found something that can help me get approved for a new apartment? And those are the questions that the first client asked. This is why they take action right now. So if you are in a situation and you know you're going to need this, do not hesitate. Because once we have reached our capacity, 100 clients, that's it. We cut off the applications. We don't accept any more applications. We don't need any more business, I promise. You know, we do this more so as a way to help people. We have other companies that are more focused on, generate revenue. This is a program that we help people, but we keep it capped. So if you're going to need this program, do yourself a favor, fill out an application and apply right now. And that way we can get you moved for your new apartment. Don't wait, guys. So at the bottom of this link, you'll be able to see some testimonials. And you'll also be able to apply for an application. We look forward to helping you guys move and have a blessed rest of your day.
God bless.
Bye.